We've created our Watson Studio account. Let's explore what's possible without coding. Specifically, let's explore a data set of employee attrition. We're going to prepare this data set for the Watson Automatic Model Builder, saving our revisions and transformations to be used later when training our model. Begin by creating a new project. This is your central place to keep track of all the resources associated with your data science team, simplifying collaboration, ensuring that everyone's running with the same versions of dependencies and with the right data. To do this, from your Watson Studio dashboard, select New Project. And here it gives you options for different new projects to select. I'm going to go ahead and select Complete. I'm going to give my project a name, Demo, and a description of Demo. Now these projects they have to be stored somewhere. All the assets in your project, your notebooks, your models, your data has to be stored somewhere. And in Watson Studio, we're going to back that with some cloud object storage. I'm going to go ahead and create a cloud object storage service on IBM's account, IBM Cloud, for free. It gives me up to 25 gigabytes a month. And just select all the default options here. So now I've gone through and I've created some cloud object storage to back my project with. Just hit refresh and the service will show up here. Now I have cloud object storage associated with my new project. And I'm going to go ahead and click Create. Now, data exploration and cleaning takes up the majority of time in the fields of data science, machine learning, and deep learning. Understanding what your data represents, if there are missing fields, and general characteristics of each feature is essential when training new models. So let's act as data engineers and take our raw data and begin exploration. To do this, we first must obtain some data for our use case of predicting if an employee is at risk of leaving a company. Now, this data is available online. And to get it, I'm just going to go to google.com and I'm going to search for employee attrition data. Now, this is a data set that was made available by IBM, and there's been several papers published about it and a Kaggle competition. It should be the first or second link, but sample data, HR employee attrition and performance. Here on this Watson Analytics page, we can download the sample data. Okay. Now that we have our sample data, I'm going back to our project dashboard for the newly created demo project. Now, the first thing you see when you've created your project is an overview. When it was created, the number of collaborators, the different assets that are there, and some of the recent activity. And since this is a new project, most of these fields are blank. If I move over to the Assets tab, this shows the different assets that we can save and collaborate on within our project. These include data assets, visual recognition models, notebooks, dashboards, data flows, etc. This is, when we created our project, we selected Complete, which is all the options that are available within a Watson Studio project. We can also configure environments, save bookmarks, talk about deployment, add and subtract collaborators, and configure other settings, but I'm not going to go into any of that now. What I want to do is add a data asset, something that we can start to investigate and explore. So to do that, I'm going to click on these little ones and zeros here in the upper right-hand side of my screen, and it says Find Data. I'm going to go ahead and load data by clicking Load and then Browse, and then go into my downloads and adding that employee HR attrition data. And that's it. That data set has now been uploaded to our object storage and associated with our project. Now, I want to explore this data before I do any machine learning with it. Before I do anything, I want to understand what is in that data. what fields are there, what those fields look like. And in order to do that, I'm going to use a visual editor called DataRefinery. So here within my project under Data Assets, I'm going to go to Actions, and I'm going to select Refine. Now, Refine is opening up that visual editor, DataRefinery, within Watson Studio. And it is loading and preparing the sample and building a profile of each of the fields within the sample, within this data set. Taking a moment to load here. Okay, so now that it's loaded our data, it gives us kind of a preview of different values for the fields and a help menu that I'm going to go ahead and close. I'm going to close all the help menus here. And I can see here all the different columns or features that are in my data set. To preview the first 1,000 rows, I'm going to go ahead and move to the second tab here and click on Profile. And really this is showing me what these different features represent, what is in the data. So for age, I see that there are 43 unique values. They are all 2 characters in length. So everyone is either 10 between the ages of 10 and 99. 35 is the most frequent. I'm looking at attrition. So this is our label. Now, in machine learning, you have features and you have and labels. Now, the features are used to predict your label. And what we're trying to predict in this example is if an employee is at risk of leaving the company. So our label is attrition. And now I see there are 2 unique values here. Yes, the employee left the company, or no, the employee did not leave the company. Other features or columns in our data set include business travel, daily rate, department, distance from home, education, education field. And these all look like very valuable features in predicting if an employee is at risk of leaving the company or not. Now we get to an interesting field here, employee count. Now, this, from what I can see in the profile of this data, there is 1 unique value, and the value is 1. So if we're trying to make a prediction and every single row, every single employee, if they left the company or not, the value for employee count is 1. This isn't a really important feature, right? So I'm going to switch back over here to data, and I'm going to find that column for employee count, and I'm going to remove it. And you see a new menu that pops up here on the right-hand side. These are steps of transformation that will occur to the entire data set when we go to process this data refinery flow in order to save the output into a new data set. All right, we go back into profile here. And the next string I see that's, I don't know how relevant it is, but employee number. So from what it looks like, we have a preview of 1,000 rows, and there are 1,000 unique values. So each employee has a unique employee number. Now, I don't know if it's a strong indicator or not. I'm going to assume that employee number has nothing to do with if an employee leaves the company, and I'm going to remove this column from my data set. I'm going to continue to look over different values here. There is environment satisfaction, values of 1, 2, 3, and 4. hourly rate, job involvement, job level, job role. And if you look at some of these values, these are string values, these are integer values, these are category values of married, single, or divorced. We have monthly income, monthly rate, number of companies worked for. Now I'm seeing monthly rate is it's different for almost every employee. However, this might get binned and grouped into groupings of someone makes between $1 and $10 and $10 and $20. Number of companies worked for, over 18. Now here's another example of a feature value that's probably not very important for us predicting an employee for employee attrition, especially since every employee is over 18 in this data set. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that column as well. Overtime string, performance rating, salary hike, standard hours. Here's another, just looking at the profile. So this DataRefinery tool allows us to quickly look at the data and find any anomalies. And here's another column where every single value is the same. And scrolling very quickly here, everything else looks valuable for making a prediction if an employee is at risk of leaving the company or not. So let's go back to our data and start to remove some of these columns. So I'm going to remove employee number. Continue scrolling over the columns here, hourly rate, job involvement, job satisfaction, over 18. I'm going to remove this one as well. Monthly income, overtime, standard hours. I'm going to remove this one as well. Okay, so I've gone through and I've removed those 4 columns or those 4 features that I don't believe are necessary in trying to predict if an employee is at risk of leaving the company or not. So let's go through and create a new data set that's dropping those columns. And we're going to save it as HR employee attrition underbar shaped. And we're going to save this data in our demo project, and we're going to save it as a CSV file. So I'll hit play here. I'm going to hit save and run. Okay, so I'm going to view this data flow. And again, it is taking our input data set, it's applying this DataRefinery flow to the HR employee, to this data and saving it as HR employee attrition underbar shaped.csv. And it has completed successfully. So let's go back and look at our demo project. At this point in time, we have 2 data sets. We have our employee attrition that we initially downloaded online, and then we have our HR employee attrition shaped.csv. And with that, we've worked as a data engineer, and we've gone through and shaped our data for input into Watson's automatic model builder, where the features will be further transformed as values that can be input into machine learning algorithms, such as random forest and linear regression. But I'm going to save that for the next video. Again, thanks for listening. I'm Justin McCoy, a developer advocate here at IBM, here to help you or your company jumpstart your next project in data science, machine learning, or deep learning. Let's build something.